for vape. Today I'm doing a review on this mod. This is called the AK-47 mod. This is from Kamrytech in Shenzhen, China. It's big, it's heavy, it's burly, it's 200 watts with temperature control. It fits flush with my 30mm Mason RDA, which I got excited when I took this out of the box because finally I have a mod that this RDA sits flush on, and it's perfect. And it's a high-powered mod that can handle the type of builds that I put in this Mason. There wasn't much packaging, so to speak. It was just in a box with bubble wrap. This is a sample. It's still in development. It's not for sale in the retail market just yet, but let me show you some cool things about it. As you can see, it's got a cool ergonomic like hand grip, and this was inspired by gun enthusiasts. So you hold it and it's a clip. It's a 4,500 milliamp hour LiPo pack battery. This is a triple series, 3 cells, 1,500 milliamp hours each, and this is what's used in remote control airplanes because it can handle the volts and the amp pull that powering a remote control airplane needs, like a drone type of thing. Up inside here, you'll see that there's a little catch hook, and that fits into this space here. I'm going to show you close-ups, and these two terminals are the positive and negative for inside your mod. It does recharge with this micro USB port right there, and I'll show you in close-up. When it's plugged in and charging, this light on the top glows red. It flashes red. It takes a good 3 to 4 hours to charge this sucker. There's no readout, no display, no nothing. You just plug it in, and then when it's done charging, it stops flashing. That's how you know it's done. Here is the screen. Got a little tiny screen on the top. This is still in development. I'm told that they are working on the spring inside here for it to be more robust, maybe. I haven't had any problems. I mean, it slides in, it fits in there. It hasn't given me any problems, doesn't rattle around, doesn't shake. It's pretty solid. This mod weighs a lot. But yeah, it just fits nicely in the hand, and I've been enjoying it for the last couple of days. I'm going to show you how I'm vaping in wattage mode. I'll set it at 100 watts. Of course, I have a pretty big build. I'll show you my build. Dual 13 wrap 24 gauge Canthal, Mad Rabbit Canthal. Powers it nicely. And low battery. I can get a full entire day of heavy vaping, 90 to 100 watts, out of this battery and vape all day on it because I have been. It can handle intense vaping like a champ. I want to show you some close-ups. Yeah, let's dive down. But there's not much to this mod. It's not very sophisticated. It's not very complex. The menu screen is very simple to navigate through, and this will use nichrome, titanium, and stainless steel. It does have a setting, it says, for nichrome, but I haven't found that the nichrome does anything. Actually, I put it in nichrome setting for variable wattage, exactly because you have to select a metal. It doesn't give you the choice to go back to variable wattage, so I picked nichrome and it goes back to variable wattage setting. So I also am going to try doing a nickel dry burn test with this in the close-up. Let's go ahead, dive down, and see what all is involved with this mod. Again, this is a prototype. This was sent to me. I wasn't even expecting it, and when it arrived, I was like, oh, cool. I could go ahead and vape my 30mm Mason RDA from Vaporgate, and that's all it ever needed to do for me. Let's go take a look up close. I'll show you how this battery works. I'll show you the menu option, and then we'll do that driver. This is a close-up of the AK-47 mod from Kamrytech. Kamrytech is an interesting company. They have a whole slew of like somewhat janky starter kits and ego style stuff, and they're sold a lot more over in Asia, I think. Like all over Alibaba, they got a bunch of different products. The stuff I've seen from them has ranged from quite janky to slightly janky. They do have a triple series mod that's pretty cool, and I never got my hands on that, but that looked pretty sweet. It's a triple series 180 watt, and that's Camry. So let me just, you see how nice and flush this fits with my 30 millimeter Mason RDA. Let me take that off and show you. The 510 connection is spring loaded. I don't have anything I can jab in there, but there's a spring. You push down on that to screw your RDA. I'll show you what I mean. Like, you can't just put your RDA in and start twisting. You actually have to push in. You see this? You have to push in, push the spring in, and then the threads catch. But when it's screwed in, there's a little bit of a gap here up front. That's for heat dispersion and possibly airflow. If you have some type of atomizer that requires bottom airflow, you've got that gap. But that, to me, is really for heat dispersion. So it fits nice and flush. Let me take this RDA back off. Here's your plus and minus, up and down buttons right here. The screen's tiny. You can see the battery's almost drained. Here's the power button on this beveled, angled side, like the trigger. And this over here is your release. So here's your battery. Let me just show you. It's cartridge style, like magazine style. It clicks, catches in, doesn't rattle, it's not janky, it's in there snugly and tight, solid, and then you push this button and it releases. What's going on is up there inside the mod, that's all there is to it. Inside here is a plus and minus connection, and then do you see this hook? I'm pushing the button on the outside. So that's what holds the battery in place, and there's this shape here, this slide here that fits in with this indented groove. So that's how it clicks back into place, and you're good to go. And it's even getting a little bit of like worn metal magazine look to it. So nobody really has any business unscrewing those screws. That's not for the average person to go ahead and open up. All right, and that light there is the charging light that tells you when you're charging. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in, show you how this looks when it's charging. And it does take many hours, like 3, 4. So this is the AK-47 mod battery pack. When it's fully charged, it glows a steady green light. No missing that. All my babies at the feeding trough right now. The mod back in. So you line up that groove with that. Clicks into place. Now it's powered, and let's go through the menu screen here. Okay. 5 clicks turns it on and off. I'll put an RDA back on here so we can go through the menu. And there's a lot of big RDAs that are coming out these days. Now you have a mod that can handle it. A little bit of a gap there, but nothing so much that bothers me. I really don't mind. It's hitting. This is a big RDA. I don't think they were. This Mason wasn't out when this was being designed. It just is coincidence, pure coincidence, that this fits so nice and flush, and that this rounded side, it just matches nicely, form factor wise. Okay, let's go through the menu option. 5 clicks turns it on. It automatically defaults to 80 watts. Let's get a little closer. Want to see how to flip the screen? 4 clicks. Flip it back. Okay, so when you take an atomizer off and put it on, it'll ask you atom type. That says previous, nichrome, Ni, Ti, and stainless steel. When you go to temperature control, and I'm putting it in nickel for a reason. So here's how we can adjust. And then we can 4 clicks while it's in temp control mode, and you can adjust the joules. 80 joules is a lot. Okay, I would not be vaping whatever. This RDA is not really for temperature control. This is for a powerhouse RDA for straight up wattage. Now here's the problem. How do I get it back into wattage mode? There it is. Nope, it's still in nickel mode. All right, variable wattage, nickel. It's kind of weird. They tell me that they're working on this to improve that. It's somewhat ambiguous right now. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put it back on, and then you can see already it's starting to get a little wear mark over there just from this RDA. If I was using a smaller RDA, I wouldn't have that problem, but I don't mind that. That's a sacrifice because I needed a mod that could house this big 30 millimeter RDA. Okay, so now it's going to ask me previous. If I go to previous, it's just going to put it back into nickel. You see? So that's a little like kooky. So there's no menu option to actually put it back to variable wattage directly. And that's a shortcoming of this device. It's going to ask me, I'm going to go, my cheat is I go into nichrome. It doesn't do temperature control for nichrome. So putting it to nichrome is my way of saying go back to wattage mode. So that's a workaround. Now that you know, it's not a problem. It was weird in the beginning. Okay, so let's do a dry burn test. Let's do a dry burn test for nickel. So we're going to do a dry burn test in nickel. And here's my crown tank base with the Ni200. Let me show you. This is what I do with nickel coils from UL. That's the Ni200 0.15 ohm crown tank coil. I really don't vape that. I don't use those coils. So whenever I get them, I accumulate them and I do dry burn tests. So they serve a good purpose. But, you know, there's a lot of people who like nickel, and for them, they're going to have, you know, the option of temperature control. So watch this. I'm just going to lower this down just in case this screws up on me. I don't want to be hitting nickel in variable wattage mode. Okay, 10 watts. So you hit the button. It asks you the atomizer type. So I'm going to go nickel. I'm at 420 degrees in nickel temperature control, nickel 420. Okay. I don't like that you have to take this off to reset everything. Okay, now nothing appears to be happening in there. It just did a 10-second. It's not hot. Well, I guess it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's just not showing you the details. I mean, nothing looks cooked in there. This is not hot. And we didn't see any vapor. It's a dry coil, completely bone dry. Let's do it again. And it just gives me the seconds. It doesn't show me voltage. It doesn't show me temperature. It's just so. I really can't say what this thing has no readout to tell you what it's doing. It's not vaping, that's for sure. Okay, so it's offering temperature protection without like telling you what's going on. I do catch the faintest whiff of like vapor. Smells like cotton. It's slightly warm. How many times have I done this now? This is like, if it was really powering it, I wouldn't be able to touch it. So it's trying to power it. It's hitting temperature, even though there's no display to tell us what's going on. It's just not powering it, which is fine. Let's see if it would actually do anything if there was juice on the coil. Let me juice this coil up a little bit. I want to at least see. So, all right, it didn't burn it. It passed the dry burn test. Yeah, damn it. Over dripped. Okay, I'm priming the coil now. Putting a little bit of juice on there. Just a little bit. Not enough to normally vape. Okay. Producing vapor. This coil is trashed, by the way, now. I'm not going to trust this. I wouldn't vape on it. Let me get a little... See, the bottom half of this coil is bone dry. And I only dripped down in the top. So it did fire it up, but there's no readout. It's not a sophisticated display on the screen to show me what's really going on. All right. A couple more times we'll hit it. Low battery, yeah. Okay. Well, what have we proved? It does not burn the cotton if it's dry in temperature control for nickel. And then when there's a little bit of juice on the coil, it does want to perform. So that's that. I'm going to have to assume if it was juiced up and wicked and in a tank that it would perform and function fine. And when it gets dry, it's just going to cut off power like it did here. All right, dry burn test successful, and the battery's completely drained. Now we're going to plug it in, which, as demonstrated before, this is how you plug it in. They did say that it's not good to drain this completely, like don't keep powering it until the battery shuts off. It's better to recharge it before it gets to that point. So I'm sorry, it's going to be another 4.5, 5 hours before this thing's fully charged. Back up top, and I want to share some thoughts on this, how I like it overall. One thing I did forget to mention is that when you're charging it, this light does glow red, and I showed it glowing red. When it's completed in charging, that glows a steady green. It does automatically stop accepting a charge. When it's full, it glows green, you unplug it. Try not to let the battery run down to less than 15% of the battery life, meaning don't fire it until the mod goes dead. That's bad for the battery. May have a hard time charging back up again. And that goes the same for all of your mods. It's better, when in doubt and the battery starts getting low, just recharge it. Don't wait till it drains out completely. It's not a good thing. Another thing, they're going to be replacing the spring for this mechanism here with a little bit more robust spring, but I don't have a problem with the one in this at all. It's not janky, it doesn't shake, it doesn't rattle at all. Another thing, when you put it into temperature control, you do that by selecting the metal and then and then you can't select back into variable wattage mode. So what you have to do is select nichrome as the metal, and it won't vape nichrome in temperature control. It'll just put it back to variable wattage. So that's the workaround for that. Overall, I like it. It's been functional. It's just more of a simple design. I've been using it primarily for wattage mode to vape with my Mason RDA, because it's the only RDA that I have that's 30 millimeters, and this is the only mod that I have that can handle something flush that big. So I love it. I just did a 6-stack build on my live show on Tuesday on this Mason RDA, and I got to tell you, this mod is perfect to be able to power a build like that. Yeah, I like that it shows me my voltage. I don't like that when you're in temperature control, it still has that seconds counter. It doesn't show you your temperature on the screen readout. I would like to have seen that. That's more useful to me than how long I've been vaping. Especially for temp control. I didn't play around much with this in temperature control. It does have some auto features where you like put it in temp control and then it kind of learns your vape style. I don't really mess around with that. I'm not the guy that does that. Look, I did the dry burn test for nickel. It passed. It didn't fire at all. It barely even got warm, and it just like, it powered off. Which is what you want. And nickel's really the metal that I'm more concerned with. Titanium, I don't find that many people are building with titanium. And if you are, at least you have a little bit more latitude. I'm going to assume if it worked in nickel mode, it's going to work in titanium mode. But this product is still under development. I haven't seen it for sale online anywhere. I don't know that anybody is selling it yet. As far as pricing, I don't know. I'm going to annotate down below when I know how much the pricing on this is. But for now, if you're looking for a big housing, big mod that's not light, that can handle bigger RDAs, there you go. And it is a LiPo 4500 milliamp hour. It's a 3-cell LiPo. Each cell is 1500 milliamp hours. And it was designed, this pack was designed for remote control planes, like drones, like RC planes. And that's pretty cool. And the battery life on this is like forever. It'll last all day and then some at 90 to 100 watts. If you're, I'm powering this build just fine at 80 watts off of this battery. I haven't found the need to go higher than 110, 120 watts on this. It's a beast at 120 watts. So there you go. There you go, guys. The AK-47 mod from Kamrytech.